This video will show you how to replace the power window regulator on a Mitsubishi Outlander. This will be located inside of your front door. Let's get into it. Okay friend, let's get started on our job. Now to remove the door panel from this area, we're starting up along the top. In this upper corner, we can see that we do have a small triangular trim panel. Some of these applications will have a speaker located behind it, others will not. For this, I'm using a trim tool. I'm going to start breaking this free. We'll just give this a quick spin. Now I can see that I do have an electrical connector. On my application, it just goes into the trim panel. If there was a speaker, I would be dislodging it from that. As far as this electrical connector, I'm just taking hold. I'm going to give it a wiggle and slide it out of place. Every time I disconnect any electrical connector, I always take a peek for corrosion. This looks good, so I'm going to set it aside. Now let's move down towards our inside door handle. If you were looking behind the handle itself, you can see that there's a small trap door. We're going to have to dislodge that. I like to use an angled pick. Now that I have that separated, just a quick look along the back side, I can see all of my locking tabs. We'll set that aside. That exposes a Phillips head screw deep inside this area. Go ahead and remove that screw. There's my mounting screw. Now we're moving down towards our grab handle. Looking inside this area, we can see another plastic trap door. I have my pick. There's that small trap door. And we exposed our Phillips head screw. Go ahead and remove that. Now, of course, we do have some elements behind the door panel we're going to have to contend with. We have a wiring harness for the switches and everything, but we do have to pull the door panel away from the door to gain access. To do that, I'm using a small trim tool. Down along the bottom, you're going to find that there's access ports. You can make your way in and then gently start prying the door panel away from the door. As we pull it away, just keep in mind we do have that wiring harness along the backside. So I'm just using my trim tool. I'll find an area to gain access and just start pulling it away. Here we are. Now let's focus up along the top here. We're going to lift this up and away so we can gain access along the backside. So I have this pulled away. We can see our inside door handle cables and of course the door lock cable. I'm going to dislodge this entire unit. We have a Phillips head screw in the center. Remove that screw. You can slide that out of place. At this point, I have the door panel completely upside down so we can see along the bottom of our window switch and our mirror switch. Let's start disconnecting our electrical connector here. Now, as far as this electrical connector, it does have a locking tab. If you find you have a hard time pressing it in by hand, you can use a small screwdriver as a prying device. Just be careful not to cause any damage to anything you don't intend on replacing. Once you have that disconnected, a quick inspection for corrosion. This looks good. We'll set that aside. Now let's move over towards our window switch. To disconnect the window switch electrical connector, it has a locking tab on this inboard side. Just go ahead and squeeze that in and disconnect it. So now that we have the door panel out of the way, we want to start removing our vapor barrier so we can gain access inside of this area. Let's start at our door speaker. We have an electrical connector. It has a locking tab. I'm going to press that over and dislodge this. No corrosion there. Let's make our way towards the center. Now in this area, you can see that we have a metal bracket and two Phillips head screws. Go ahead and remove the pair and the bracket. Both of these screws will look the same. You do not need to worry about mixing them up. Just a quick inspection of that, we'll set it aside. Now, as we make our way towards where the door latch is, we're going to disconnect our electrical connector here. It does have a locking tab down along the bottom. I find this easiest if you just use a small pocket screwdriver, or you can use a pick to gain access. Now, as far as the cables for the inside door handle, we're going to have to dislodge those from the handle itself so we do not cause any damage to that vapor barrier. So I have this looking along the backside here. We want to make sure we know exactly where each one of these cables go to. The blue would go towards where the handle is, and the yellow would be for the door lock side. We'll just pivot this out of position. Now we'll pay attention at the cable end, slide that out as well. Continuing on, same process for the next. Just a quick inspection of that inside handle, we'll set it aside. Now we can continue on with the removal of our vapor barrier. As far as the vapor barrier, you do have butyl tape making its way all the way around. It's extremely sticky, do not get it on your clothing. We'll start pulling this away from the door. As we continue on, we need to remove everything from that vapor barrier. We'll just slide it through the corresponding slot as necessary. As we keep pulling this, of course, we do have our cables for the inside door handle. We'll make our way across. We have some electrical wiring harnesses here. And now we'll just pull this all the way over towards the side. We can remove it. We'll give it a quick inspection. I'm going to set it aside. After that, we're making our way over towards the speaker itself. Take hold of it. We're going to turn it counterclockwise. It should want to unlatch from the door. We can set that aside as well. Now at this point, we're going to have to carefully start powering the window regulator down far enough that we can gain access inside of each of these two ports. So with that said, I'm going to reconnect my window switch, turn on key power. As I start powering it down, I need to make sure there's nothing inside of this door that might potentially get damaged or hurt. So I've got my door panel upside down. I'm looking at the bottom of the switch. Press that in. Now I'm going to turn on key power. We'll start powering this window down. Okay, this looks good. After that, we'll turn off key power and disconnect that window switch. There we are. At this point, we can easily gain access to each piece of hardware. I have one out in the open in this large port. The next one I'll be accessing through the speaker port. The process is the same. Both of these bolts will look the same. Now at this point, we're going to have to take hold of the window glass. We'll carefully lift it into the fully upright position and hold it there. For this, I like to use some painter's tape. You can also have an assistant if necessary. Okay, now while I'm holding this, I just have my painter's tape. I'm going to apply several strips of tape. Tape is a lot cheaper than glass. It's your vehicle, tape it as many times as you deem fit. As long as you're safe, you can continue on. Now, if we look over at this port, we can see that we do have an electrical connector. This leads to our window motor behind this area. As far as this electrical connector, it has a locking tab. You can't see it right now because it's on the inboard side. So I'm going to reach in, I'll squeeze that tab and dislodge this. There's my locking tab. No corrosion. We're making our way over towards where the large port is. In this area, we have one portion of the window regulator. There's a bar, and in behind this area, we're going to separate it from the door. There's two 10mm nuts holding it in place. Remove the pair. Now at this point, I'll reach in and behind. I'm going to take hold of this. We should be able to separate it. There's that rod there. Now we're looking in this area. There's four 10mm mounting bolts. These are the last things holding the window regulator and window motor in place. As we remove these, just be careful that it does not fall down and potentially hurt you. I'm going to leave this one in just a couple threads. Now I'll just reach inside of the door. I'm holding onto the window regulator while I remove that final bolt. We're going to slide this out through the large port. There it is, friend. Now as we bring this over towards the door, we're going to bring it inside of the large port. We're going to have to align the studs on this bar with the corresponding ports, and of course we need this area of the regulator aligned with its mounting points as well. Now I'm focusing over here. Obviously I can't see inside of the door. I'm just going to move this around as necessary until everything's aligned. We'll start on all pieces of hardware before tightening any of them. Make our way over towards where those two mounting nuts are. And now we can tighten them up. Let's secure the electrical connector for that window motor. The locking tab is on the inboard side. Audible click, a light tug, it's secure. Now we can start bringing the window glass down into the proper position. As we do so, we're being as careful as possible. The glass is going to have to sit along this area here. Once we have it rested down properly and aligned, we can continue on with our hardware. So I'm holding onto my window glass. While I'm holding pressure, I can start removing my tape, holding it in place. Let's just be extremely careful the glass does not fall down. We can adjust this rod as necessary. Be aware of any pinch points. Now this rod has to go in front of the glass. We want it closest to us. Before I install my hardware, I'm just going to double check the other side. Once I'm sure that it's in the proper placement, we'll continue on with that hardware. We'll start it in and snug it up. I have my two mounting bolts, one for each side. There's that one. I'm going to do the same on the other side. They're both started in. Let's just make sure they're nice and tight. Right there is bottomed out. Just take it a tiny bit further here. Make sure that's secured. We don't want the glass moving around. Of course, I'm going to do the same exact thing on the other side. Right there is bottomed out. Make sure it's nice and tight. After securing that, let's re-secure the speaker. Looking along the back side of the speaker, there's several tabs. Those tabs need to align with their corresponding ports. We'll press it in till it's flush, and then turn it clockwise till it's fully locked in. When we do this, you need to make sure that the port for the electrical connector is facing up. Now, one last quick inspection in this area. Make sure you've left no tools or flashlights, and we'll continue on with our vapor barrier. As far as the vapor barrier, we're going to pin it up along the top. I'm aligning it with the proper placement and just gently pressing it in. I may have to alter where this is, but for now, I just want it hanging there while I continue on. Now, we're going to have to carefully start sliding things through this vapor barrier. We have the slot for our cables. Let's start there. Now let's move down towards this area here. We're heading over towards our door speaker. We have a few electrical connectors here, so we're going to slide through here. So now that we have everything through the vapor barrier, we can make any adjustments as necessary. As you can tell, this vapor barrier does have to be moved, so I'm going to do this now. Slide it over a little. Make sure you can gain access to this. It's not covered in any way. And now we're just pressing it on all the way around. Let's reconnect our door speaker. Make sure that's secure. Now along the center area here, we're going to reattach our bracket. For this, I already have my screw through the bracket. I have it on my driver. I'll line it up, start that one in, continue on to the next. On the far side, let's reconnect our electrical connector here as well. Now it's time for our door handle. As you remember during the removal process, the area for the handle has the blue connector. We're starting with the far end of the cable. We're just going to take this, we'll twist it, slide it into position, line it up with the proper groove, press it in, audible click, and it's secure. Same process, this one's for the door lock. Now we have to reconnect our electrical connectors. So I have my door panel upside down so I can see where each one of those connectors goes. I'm starting with my window switch. Press it in, audible click, and it's secure. Now let's move along to the blue connector. This is for the mirror switch. Audible click, and it's secure. It's time for the inside door handle. We're going to slide this through the door panel. We'll align the mounting hardware. We're going to start in that Phillips head screw and, of course, snug it up. Right there is bottomed out. I'm just going a tiny bit further. I am only screwing into plastic. I do not want to strip this. Now let's prepare to align the door panel with the door. Along the top of the door panel, there's this small lip making its way all the way across. And if you are looking at the door itself, along the window channel, you can see where we have a small groove for that to slide into. That's where we're going to start, but I also want to point out along the side, we have several locking clips. Those need to press into their corresponding ports. Coming up nice and high, I'm going to attempt to slide that down into the right position here. Just a couple light taps along the top. Now I'm going to make sure I feel along the sides, confirming it is aligned, and then I'm going to tap it in all the way around the door panel. This feels good. Obviously, we do still have some hardware to install, but let's just make sure each one of those locking clips are properly secured in place first. Let's look inside of the grab handle. We need to install our mounting bolt here. It's easiest to reach in this area using a magnet if necessary. We'll make sure that's nice and tight and protect the area with its cover. Let's make our way towards the inside door handle next. We have our mounting screw for this. We have our plastic protective panel. We'll make sure we have it in the proper orientation. Pull on the handle. We should be able to slide this into position. There we are. Now we have our corner piece here. just going to secure my wiring harness into the proper port. If you have a speaker, install it into that. Looking along the bottom of this, we do have one small locating tab. It slides in and behind the door panel. Then we also have a locking tab which would go into this port. Line it up, press it in, make sure it's secured in place. Okay friend, we finished our installation. The next thing we have to do is test the functionality. Put the key in the on position and confirm that it works as it should. Perfect. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.